Poor Peter Parker was pitiful, couldn't be any shyer, and Mary Jane wouldn't notice him, even his hair was on fire. Swing us a web, you're the Spider-Man. Swing us a web tonight, 'cause we're all in the need of a hero now, and there's evil doers to fight. Hey guys, Steve-O here from Movies and TVs on the Ball, and I was doing I promised you guys in a short video I talked about, I was gonna do kind of a look at the Spider-Man, as you can see, Spider-Man video games. Now, I haven't played all of them, but I wanted to kind of take this second just to, since I'm a huge movie fan, I've also been a fan of video games. If you've seen my video on Mortal Kombat, you would probably know why. But I've never really kind of discussed video games before, and but I did like talking about video games and, of course, comic book characters. So let's put two and two together with Spider-Man and video games. I present to you the Spider-Man video game series. Now, I was a 90s kid, and I've played a couple, I've only played about, I played on the original Nintendo. I think Nintendo had the only Spider-Man game because they advertised it on the VHS of the X-Men, part of the X-Men and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, called Spider-Man, as you can see on the left with the eyes, Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six, which I've played. I've played on my Nintendo's, my regular NES, and Spider-Man and the Revenge of the Sinister Six. I don't remember that much about the game. I do remember you played like you were in the city of New York, and you shot out these kind of giant web spits. That's what it looked like. I mean, the graphics were still like 6 bits, and and you would shoot out these 6 bits and kind of climb walls and beat like crooks up or robots. And I mean, the graphics weren't great, but it was a pretty good game. I got to, I think, probably the first boss, because I think you went down like a sewer or like a kind of area where you would fight off Electro, and Electro, it was so hard to beat because you would have you would fight him off with, like, he would kind of glide and you'd have to shoot webs, and you'd get to the side of the game and you do these like barrel rolls and trying to defeat him, but he was so hard to defeat, and I don't think I got that far. But then Super Nintendo came out, and I think Super Nintendo, they actually had I think they did they had a game called, I think the first game that they did was Spider-Man and the X-Men in Arcade's Revenge, who I know from the comics, Arcade is an X-Men villain from the 70s, and you could play as, and this was right around the same time, if you've seen our video on X-Men, the Pride of the X-Men, going back to that, they brought Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Dazzler, Cyclops, Optic Blast, and Cyclops' Optic Blast, and I think Gambit was in there. who I don't know if they added that because Gambit's this video preview was around 92 when Gambit was showing up in the X-Men 92 television series. But I do remember that, and it was like you could play. It was kind of cool to see Spider-Man along with the X-Men. It was a pretty good game. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever played that Super Nintendo game. I would like to know what your thoughts are. But I do remember seeing that ad, and that's one of the games I would probably love to have as a Super Nintendo. And there was also other games, like I think there was a Amazing Spider-Man game, kind of a Spider-Man Sinister Six game for Super Nintendo. There was Separation Anxiety Spider-Man game, and I'm just looking at the covers. I think that was sort of something to do with like the Carnage Venom era because it came out probably when Super Nintendo was big back in the 91 was when Venom was kind of coming into the birth of Venom was coming into the comic books. So that was a game. Let me know what your thoughts are. I kind of moved on from there. I played the N64 PlayStation version of Spider-Man, the arcade game, and I do remember that game pretty well. I think you could I think there was like one level where Mysterio or Doctor Octopus or somebody turned on the like toxic chemicals around New York City, and you had to only go through like building top of buildings and stuff. I don't remember that much about it, but I do remember playing a couple levels. I it was sort of I know you played against the Vulture in Mysterio. I think there was a sequel where you fought Electro in the Spider-Man PlayStation 1 game. But I think Electro was like the big bad guy. Um, I do remember that game. Then there was the then the games that I kind of played where I really kind of was. I think I played the Spider-Man. I guess after that there was the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man game, which was Spider-Man the movie. It came out in 2002, right around the same time. And I think you could follow the plot of the film, but then there was like some secondary characters that were around. Like I think there was like the episode, where you fought against the Rhino, Scorpion. Like you would have to face Scorpion in like a bank robbery thing, or and I do remember you would. It was sort of very much you kind of have to follow the arrow around. I do remember that game. What would um, then there was I do remember that game, and it was a pretty good game. The graphics for the time, I mean, this was on PlayStation 2. They look pretty good for, PlayStation 2. I mean, looking back at it now, you're probably looking at the graphics and going, oh, they're not as great as Xbox One and PlayStation 5, but they're pretty good. And then the other game I played was Spider-Man. Let's see, Ultimate Spider-Man video game, which I think I played. It was on. I want to say it was on PlayStation 3, where. But the Web of Spider-Man, I think, was Ultimate Spider-Man was a little bit different. I think you played him. It was more cartoony, and it dealt more with, it was animated. It was more animated with kind of, more kid-friendly animated Bob's and Bosch. Then you had Spider-Man, the first one, Shattered Dimensions. I think there was Web of Dimensions as a sequel. I like this game. I played it. As you can see, I own it. This one you play in different dimensions. You play with the black suit Spider-Man, or play with regular Spider-Man, of course, in like one dimension, one level. Then you go into, which is sort of the amazing area. Then there's the other one is Nor, which, if you've watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that was a character. Spider-Man Nor was voiced by Nicolas Cage. Get in the Cage with Nicolas Cage. And that was a pretty good, it's kind of stealth. You fought, like, I think, Hammerhead in that one. Like, you bring each character you played was, you play like a villain from each dimension. Then you have New York Spider-Man 2099, as you would play as I'm gonna say it's Miguel. I think his name is Miguel. I can't remember his Miguel. He was Miguel something. He was Oscar Isaac. He was voiced by Oscar Isaac, and I think Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is a movie I heard really. I have both the. I think it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. I've seen Into the Spider-Verse, but I've not seen Across the Spider-Verse yet. But I will probably review that with Jay sometime soon. But you played as him in a game in sort of the future New York, and you really would fight like the futuristic bad guys of 2099. Then you had Spider-Man Nor, it's a lot darker. It's a lot more kind of green and shadowy. And then you would have the black suit Spider-Man, which was sort of it's kind of the ultimate universe. And you would have like, and what I liked about this game is that each of them had sort of separate, it was designed, each Spider-Man you played as had separate characters in them. Then there was, I think, PS. Now I've kind of stopped playing video games. From like PlayStation 4 or 5 on, I haven't really done it, but played a lot of video games with Spider-Man. But I have kind of watched some the Spider-Man for PlayStation 5, which was PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, where you had sort of him in a spider suit that was kind of red and blue, but a kind of a white spider on the chest, and it was kind of him playing that that version. I think he brought Miles Morales into it, which was kind of cool. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on that game. I really would like to know. For me, I think probably the best Spider-Man game, I think from what I've played so far, is probably the one I just talked about, Spider-Man Into the Shattered Dimensions. I think that one was a pretty good game. I know they did another tie-in game for PS3 for Spider-Man 3. Where I think dealt more with the Venom. Was Spider-Man 3 better than the game from Spider-Man from was better than the movie? I think but that's kind of my look at the Spider-Man video games. There's probably more I haven't talked on. This is just kind of a fast, quick video talking about Spider-Man through the gaming system. The other reason why I'm talking about the Spider-Man games was kind of also discussing. I've discussed the Batman Arkham games, and I wanted to kind of look at Spider-Man for the Marvel Universe. So that's the Spider-Man games from what I talked about. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, what your favorite game is, um, what what made the games work for you. Were they challenging? What level was the hardest level? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. If there's, I know I haven't. If there's other games I haven't mentioned, this was just kind of a quick video I wanted to do. Let me know as well. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me know about it. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on other Spider-Man games. So that's just Spider-Man in the Game Boy game era. So I'm Steve, and as always, like and subscribe. Peace. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.